So it's Tuesday. Yesterday I went to Omaha. I needed to get the hell out of here. And so I went to Omaha and decided to go to a few places I hadn't gone in years and years and years. One of them was Von Mar. I haven't been in there for years. And in my travels yesterday, I go into the shop and there is this person working there. And they come up to me and say, "You live in Harland." And of course, I'm like, "How the fuck do you know that? I'm in Omaha." So I said, "Yeah. How did you know that?" And they said, "Well, dude, you're the only one. Hey, you're the only one up there who wears bow ties." And I had a bow tie on yesterday. And so they come up, they ask me, "So how do you like living in Harlan?" And the first thing out of my mouth was, "Well, law enforcement leaves something to be desired." And they start laughing and said, "Yeah, that's exactly why I left Harlan." And I said, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah." They said, then they proceeded to tell me, "Yeah, you know that the sheriff's office is involved with this drug operation, right?" And I said, "I've heard about that." He said, "Yeah, it's centered in the trailer court." And I said, "I didn't know that. I just heard that they were involved. I didn't have anything." I was just like, "So you heard it was in the trailer court?" They said, "No, dude, I'm telling you firsthand experience. It's in the trailer court, the operation." He said, "They send this deputy Shen is the one who goes for the sheriff's office down there." And it must have been the look on my face because they asked me, "Do you know Deputy Shen?" And I said, "I've never met the guy personally." And they said, "Yeah, he's the one who's always down in the trailer court. He's the dude in the sheriff's department that goes down there and does a lot of shit down there." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "And you heard this?" He said, "No, no." They said, "I know this from personal experience." And so they said and then they proceeded to tell me how everything has gotten way worse since they got rid of law enforcement. And hey, Thomas, how are you? They got rid of law enforcement. And since they got rid of the Harland Police Department and now the Sheriff's Department runs the whole town, it's gotten worse. That's why they left town. And I said, "Huh." Um, so I am not playing games today. I'm just not. So they tell me that since they got rid of the Harlan Police Department, it's gotten way worse. Way worse. And the cop that has been calling me, the one who I actually thought was asking me questions about who was involved, that I thought was part of the whole situation, who was trying to help, three guesses of what his name is, and the first two don't count. He wasn't asking to get information like he was trying to help me. He was trying to get information because the very person who I have a voice message on my phone. When I share this video with investigators, I'm just going to put that, I'm just going to, along with it, who told me not to call 911 anymore. Three guesses what his name is, and the first two don't count. Yeah. If you guess Deputy Shen, you'd be spot on. The very person that this person was telling me they had firsthand knowledge is involved with the meth operation that's going on in the trailer park in Harland, which is the whole reason why the felon Thomas crawls up Neil's ass. Like I said, if there's any baby oil left with the whole P. Diddy thing, my sheriff could use it. Because him and Thomas and the Dead Isaac Cappy Club and all of them probably need it because they're always in a circle jerk with each other. So the very deputy posing to be supportive of me is probably trying to set me up. And this was a fluke conversation. I didn't even know I was going to go into this place. I hadn't been in this place for years, let alone that I was going to run into someone who would recognize me from Harland, who would have the information that I was told yesterday. But that's how God works in my life. It's like getting a wild hair with Owen that we wanted to go to the farmhouse cafe for breakfast. And while we go there and I run into my stepmother who's supposedly dead, you know? And so, I'm not playing any games anymore. I'm just not playing any games, and I'm not fucking stupid. I'm not fucking stupid anymore. I know exactly the game. I've been aware of it for quite some time. I'm just not playing anymore. These child traffickers are after me, and my sheriff is helping them because my sheriff is involved within a meth operation here in town. When I told the person, you know, no one seems to care. They all know. It's like this open secret that the sheriff's department is involved with this meth operation. And what I was told was, well, you have two different things. People in town are either involved with it, which is a lot of people from what I understand, or two, people are afraid to say anything because it paints a target on their back. And that's how it works. It paints a target on their back. And so this meth operation and the very deputy who's trying to help me is the very one who they're saying is going into the trailer park and is the one instrumental in this, helping Neil Gross, the sheriff. That's what's happening. That's the reason why this dude is coming to me and trying to be my friend. Oh, who's involved? Let me get all the names. Because the group of meth heads that are driving me crazy are in the same park. They go to their NA meetings in the same parking lot of the sheriff's office. Harland is a small town. And it's all, they're hiding this meth operation where the child traffickers are trying to Johnny Dub, Lucian Greaves, fucking threatening me before I even came on here. Gabe Hoffman is going to come after you like he did Nathan Stoltman. But 2 days ago, I sent out this email from Thomas. Thomas and Gabe Hoffman were supposed to have fought each other in court, and Thomas is defending Gabe Hoffman and telling me I need to leave his name out of my mouth. You know? Yeah, Michael Aquino was related. All the people that were involved with me as a kid at Offutt Air Force Base and Hummel Park, the one commonality they all fucking had was they were all Nazis. You know? Aquino was a Nazi who was protected by our government. He couldn't be investigated due to grounds of national security. That's how it works. That's the reason why Thomas feels so emboldened that Kash Patel is now is head of the FBI. Feels like he's totally protected. Nobody can touch him. Involved with fucking child trafficking. The whole group is involved with child trafficking. But now they can't be touched because the criminals run the system, just like in Harland. When that dude brought up Deputy Schoen's name, I about dropped over because I was actually trying to tell myself that the dude was trying to help, that he was actually forthright. I should have known better. I should have known better. And that's the reason why heaven set the whole situation up the way it did. Because I had to get a frozen rat for my snake. That's the only reason I needed to go down to Omaha. I went to Omaha just because I felt compelled to go to Omaha. For some reason, I just wanted to go to Omaha yesterday. And it was, I think, because heaven wanted me to know what the fuck was going on. So yeah, Neil, please send Deputy Schoen to my house. I would love to meet him in person because I have some questions for him now. All of this stuff is bullshit. The fact that I'm having to go through all of this bullshit is just incredible. You know, incredible. But heaven again wanted me to know. Heaven didn't want me to be duped, I guess, because I went and found this person, and it was a fluke that I went in there. It was a fluke that they recognized me. It was a fluke that the conversation went the way it did. You know? It wasn't a setup. There was no way to set this up. There was no way, because it was so arbitrary. The whole situation that happened, it was arbitrary. There was no way. Because I didn't even know I was going to go in the place until I was driving past it. So there was no way for it to happen. And so it's about child trafficking and my sheriff who's defending them. And people wonder why Iowa has such a big meth problem. Well, when you have law enforcement protecting and promoting the meth operation, that's the issue that you get. That's the problem that you have. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Deputy Schoen is not trying to help me. Deputy Schoen is the one who's going down into the trailer court. He's known in town for being involved with it. He's not helping me. They're trying to set me up. Because what the dude said was, you either have people who either are in on it or are too afraid to say anything, because if you say anything, it paints a target. Wow. Just what I've experienced. I have a target on me for mentioning it, for talking about it. But you want to know what? I believe in Scripture. Those who try to defend and protect their lives will lose their lives. But those who do try to do the right thing, regardless of the cost, will find everlasting life. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that yesterday was heaven inspired. It was the whole reason why I was compelled to go to Omaha. It's the whole reason why I went to several places I hadn't been in. I hadn't been in Westroads in, oh my God, I think 20 years. The Von Mars shooting, I was in there before the Von Mars shooting, a couple years from that. And of course I remember the Von Mars shooting. If you listen to the 911 tapes where the people got killed while they were on 911, the 911 caller, the person at 911 who answered the phone was my niece. She was working for 911 at the time. She's the 911 operator who dealt with the Von Mars shooting. So that kind of stands out in our family, the Von Mars shooting. You know, it is going to swallow them whole. Someone on the other side, probably my sister Cindy, wanted me to know. Wanted me to be aware that Deputy Schoen is involved in the meth operation. He's not trying to help me. He's trying to set me up. That's the reason why I got irritated with him and hung up on him, which people will hear in the voicemail that he left me, because he wanted people to know that I hung up on him. He wants people to think that I'm calling 911 all the time. In the 4 years that I have lived in Harland, I have called 911 3 times. So it's not like I call incessantly. When they were sending me pictures of kids, when they stole that Dell laptop out of my house and laughed about it, and this very last time that they mentioned my ex's name, you know? But that's why. But go ahead, Neil. Send Deputy Schoen. I would love to know what he looks like. I would love to look him in the eye and shake his hand. That's what I'd really like to do. It's just nonstop. And they were in my house again yesterday. They got my sink downstairs that I rarely use to drip. I had to turn it off this morning. God only knows how long it's been dripping. It wasn't dripping yesterday because I used it to brush my teeth, but everything was shut off. But that's what happens. I was in Omaha yesterday. They live right fucking next door to me. They get into my house anytime they want. Before I got the cameras on the house, the sheriff's department kept telling me, well, you need to put cameras on your house. You need cameras. Yamada, the ex-chief of police that I filmed was sitting in front of my camera in my living room for an hour and a half, trying to set me up with these fucking meth heads. He told me, get cameras. Then I got cameras. What did they do? He sent that woman deputy over who grilled me on where all of my cameras were facing. And I got that on my Ring camera. And then the very person that they were trying to fucking get a protection order out on me, they sent that idiot to my front door who gave me their phone number 4 fucking times. And I have that on a Ring camera, demanding that I call over a crime that never happened, you know? And it was because they needed me to call so then they could say I got their phone number and I was harassing them. That's how this shit works. Protection orders are their favorite fucking thing. It's their favorite fucking thing. That's their go-to. The first thing they'll do. That's the reason why out in Washington, that protection order that they got out on me in Kent, all those 15 videos had nothing to do with the petitioners at all. Nothing. Never mentioned them once. They only and solely dealt with Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who's Johnny Dub, you know? And so the whole situation with this whole bullshit is just crazy. And it's always a setup. Every time I turn around, they're trying to set me up. And you want to know why they're trying to set me up? Because I'm not a fucking criminal and they can't find anything to get me on because there's nothing there. I'm pretty much a very boring person and always have been, you know? So now they're going to do whatever they can to do it. So they're probably going to say, well, Deputy Schoen talked to David on the phone a couple times, you know? The very dude who's going down to the fucking the trailer court and is all involved with the meth operation that's going down there in the trailer court. People are just too afraid to say anything. And I'm not afraid of Gabe Hoffman, but I did go on just to check because I have screenshots of something that Gabe Hoffman wrote about me, his little open secret. I've had that shit forever. But now there's nothing there, you know? But Thomas, who sent the court papers of him going and fighting Gabe Hoffman in court, was defending Gabe Hoffman. Keep his fucking name out of your mouth. That is a direct quote. And you also know what Thomas sent 2 days ago? Andy Villa thinks you need to have a welfare check. That's what they're trying to do. Andy Villa, who's also Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Thomas says he doesn't know who Andy Villa is, and yet he knows that he thinks that I should have a welfare check, and Thomas agrees. So the convicted felon, who's involved with all of this bullshit, he thinks I should have a welfare check. Well, of course, because they fucking harass the shit out of me constantly. When I got done with my live yesterday, I had 2 pages of screenshots, or the day before yesterday on Sunday, that I had to send fucking investigators to show them. While I'm on here, they're busy emailing me. They think it comes up on my phone, but it doesn't. It doesn't come up anymore. Just like you can't do the little emoji things anymore. Not dealing with that anymore. It's just constant harassment. They think it's funny. Yeah. Child traffickers and meth producers are just fucking hilarious. Don't you find fucking child traffickers and fucking meth dealers fucking funny? They're just hilarious. And they can say whatever the fuck they want, but the minute I get done with this live, I'm sending it to Neil Gross, like I always do. And I'm going to title it appropriately. Because now I know the game. Because heaven wanted me to know the game. A bunch of fucking criminals. But in the end, which I believe we're at, we're led by criminals. Lawlessness fills the land. People who are self-impressed and adore themselves and serve themselves, that are lawless. That's who gets to rule at the very end. That's what we have happening now. You know, the fucking criminals have taken over. That's what ends up happening. I just find it interesting. I find it interesting. The fact that I have to fight with felons and drug traffickers and child traffickers constantly, and the shit that they've been doing to me in the last year and a half is their MO. That's what they do to people. That's what they were doing to Isaac Cappy. That's what was going on with Tracy Twyman, because she was being attacked the exact same way. There's a whole long list of people that they've done this to. There's a whole long list. And that's the people who don't end up dead. The problem is that I'm going to fight back. I just don't give a shit anymore. I have given a shit. I do give a shit. I stand opposed to this fucking group. I stand against them. And always will. I'm not into fucking meth heads. They're fucking driving me crazy. That's why they have a whole goddamn group of meth heads fucking driving me insane. But now I'm realizing that Deputy Shen is actually calling me up and then warning the fucking meth heads so that they can change their MO accordingly so that it's easier for them to do whatever the fuck they want. This dude had no clue, because didn't even know really who I was. Never seen anything that I've done. No videos, you know? No videos. That hadn't seen anything. Didn't know anything that I was trying to do. Just knew me because I wear bow ties. You know, that's how a lot of people in town know me, is because I wear bow ties. I live in an area where they go to church in t-shirts and shorts. And so I kind of stand out. And they just wanted to know how I liked living in Harland. The whole conversation went to law enforcement when I said that I find that the law enforcement up there leaves something to be desired. And then it went all to the other shit. And they just were telling me what they knew. Firsthand experience. Knew the people from the fucking trailer court. And the people who are in the trailer court who aren't involved are terrified to say anything because the cops harass the shit out of them. You know? I thought Chad Butler was the one who was supposed to be in charge of me. I mean, Gio was the one who did the video, posting the letter that he got from Neil Gross saying that Chad Butler was my handler. But I guess now Chad Butler isn't my handler. Now it's this Deputy Schoen, the fucking meth producer, the one who's down in the trailer courts dealing with the shit, you know? And I was told after they got rid of the Harland Police Department, it's like the meth operation is on steroids now. That's what I was told. Of course it is, you know? Fuck. Now we serve Putin, you know? Fuck all of our allies. Now we're part of the axis of evil. Because criminals are running everything, and dumbasses. Criminals and dumbasses. And you want to know the one thing they all have in fucking common with each other? They're all fucking Nazis. They're all conspiracy theory Nazis. But they're not really conspiracy theorists. They'll run you down every rabbit hole but the real ones. That's what ends up happening. You know? That's what ends up happening. And people are fucking dumbasses. They're just like, oh, okay. You know? So now I'm starting to get names. I know the names of the people who are involved because some names got mentioned. I can't mention their names, but public officials, their names are, you know? Again, the shit that I went through as a kid, they were all Nazis. My dad was a Nazi. I come from a family of Nazis. My grandmother's family lived in Germany. We were Jewish and we were serving Hitler. You know? So my family was full of Nazi Jews. Explain that one. You know? It's just bizarre. And I am just, obviously heaven wants me to stay in this because yesterday wouldn't have happened. Yesterday would not have happened. You know, it was a fluke that I went in where I did. And it was a fluke that that person just happened to be working, you know? It was a fluke that they came up and talked to me. It was a fluke that the conversation went the way it did. It's the same thing as going to the farmhouse cafe and running into my stepmother, who was supposed to have been dead for 3 years. And so, you know, the sheriff's involved. And his uncle is the county prosecutor. So it's all law enforcement. And they wonder why there's such a meth problem in Harland. Huh. I wonder why. You know? I wonder why the meth is so bad in Iowa. You know? I guess it's one of those mysteries that people will never figure out. But let me tell you, the next time Deputy Schoen calls me, I have some serious fucking questions for him. Because now that I know what I know, you know, I don't do meth. Meth gives you a Skeletor look. My fat ass face obviously doesn't do meth. You know, not a goddamn sore on my face. That's also meth. You know, a bunch of fucking meth heads who want to point fingers at everyone else. That's the fucking problem. You know? And they're in here. No, they're in here. The meth labs, they're probably on farms, you know? Someone in here yesterday said something about the child trafficking is happening on farms. I never thought about it, but you know what? I bet it is. You know? I bet it is. Is it still hidden in the gay lifestyle down in Omaha? Well, no. You know, in Iowa. Devin Nunes, they brought up something that he was involved with something. There was a. If you go back and watch the last live I did right before this, it's in the comments because I didn't erase anything. It's all in there. They actually brought it up. I think that John Podesta was involved. John Podesta and that whole bullshit that was going on with Hillary Clinton is exactly why Pizzagate came out. Because they were trying to poo-poo and quiet down the John Podesta, the spirit cooking bullshit of Hillary Clinton and all of that. That's how we got Pizzagate. They brought up Pizzagate because they wanted Pizzagate to be another McMartin. They wanted to poo-poo all of this child trafficking and all of this abuse bullshit by bringing up Pizzagate. But this time, Pizzagate did not have the effect that they needed. Pizzagate actually threw fuel on the fire. Until you suddenly had some dude go into that Comet Pizza with a gun, crazy, over a basement that didn't exist. And so they realized, ooh, Pizzagate is going to be a problem. And so what did Colonel Michael Aquino give us next? Because Colonel Michael Aquino was behind it. Then we had QAnon, the secret government QAnon dude who spoke in code, ran everyone down all kinds of rabbit holes that didn't exist. Now, when you bring up QAnon, people think those people are fucking crazy and the child trafficking isn't happening. Just like it happened in McMartin. It's not a game that they don't always use. UK, the Hampstead kids. The two kids were the only real thing about that. Abe and the good side, all bad. Abe, another fucking felon. And then the bad guys. It was all controlled opposition like it always was. And so you had this Hampstead case that was so that everyone looked at this Hampstead case and thought, oh, well, there must not be anything. And that all came about because after Jimmy Savile died, they started to realize that all this child trafficking and all this abuse was a real thing. Jimmy Savile was much like John Podesta. So they ran with the Hampstead case. Just like when all the Podesta files and all that shit came out, they ran with the Pizzagate case. But in the UK, if it was really about abuse and they were really trying to figure out abuse, Abe and the mother and the side that was trying to expose this child trafficking would have joined forces with that Shirley Oaks group home that has, 300 to 500 survivors of kids that were fucking brutalized same exact way. The Catholic Church had everything to do with it, just like they did in Omaha, because Boys Town and the Catholic Church was heavily involved with what was going on in Omaha and Franklin. They would have joined forces, but they never have. They never have. And why? Because they want it all to go away. And they want anybody who mentions this shit to be looked at as crazy. That's what they want to do. Hillary Clinton, Human Abedin, Frazzle Drip. That shit came up the exact same time the Podesta files did. And why? That's how we got Pizzagate. It was all involved. But it's not just the Democrats that are involved. It's the Republicans as well. The Republicans who are having cocaine-fueled orgies. Just like Madison Cawthorn, their old golden boy, the dude in the wheelchair, came out and said the Republican parties all having cocaine-fueled orgies. Cocaine-fueled orgies, much like what they were doing in Franklin. What do you think the chances are they filmed these motherfuckers doing it? Just like Jeffrey Epstein did. just like P. Diddy did. What do you think the chances are that they have blackmail information on the whole Republican Party? And that's the reason why every time they go down to Mar-a-Lago against Trump, they come back singing a completely different tune. Even Morning Joe, that Joe dude and his wife, you know, all against Trump, went down to Mar-a-Lago, came back singing a completely new, different song. Just the opposite. You know, I wonder, could Elon Musk and Donald Trump have all of that blackmail information that Jeffrey Epstein had, that Bill Barr confiscated when Epstein went to jail? I wonder. And they're disbanding the FBI, who busted a satanic Nazi pedophile ring a year ago last September in New York City. That dude who got busted on the gun charge, it was a fluke how it happened. They go into him and find out he's involved with the satanic Nazi pedophile ring. And what are they doing? They're targeting kids online and getting them to do all this freaky ass shit and record it. Just like they did with Isaac Cappy and his program. Just like they're doing now. And they're using the Satanic Temple after school daycare to target the kids. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who has a long ass history of nothing other than attacking survivors and trying to intimidate them into fucking silence, which is the whole reason why Lori King, founder of the Ivory Garden, ended up dead the same weekend the second Ivory Garden Trauma and Survivor Conference took place. Same exact fucking weekend. But to actually mention it, everything to them lives in a vacuum. Everything is separate from everything else. Everything lives in a vacuum. It's all just coincidences. It's just a set of coincidences that never stop. You know? Amber Volatin showing up unannounced at Lori's house the weekend of the second annual conference, driving 3 states back to their house, and Lori King ends up dead that weekend. And then less than a year later, Lori King's husband ends up dead because he had a problem with it. I think I would too if they murdered my wife, you know? Now they can mention my ex's name, and who the fuck is gonna have, you know? And of course, I'm not gonna get any help from this deputy Schoen. From what I understand, he's the one in the trailer court fucking doing the meth. He's part of the meth operation because Neil doesn't go down there. They just send Deputy Schoen, who's now the one who's called me. I've talked to him, 3 times now? Always grilling me for information. And here I thought he was trying to help. He's not trying to help. He's not trying to help. It's all a setup, you know? But you can't go out and tell people that I'm mentally unstable just because you don't like the facts that I'm presenting. You know? It doesn't work that way. Just because you don't like what I'm saying doesn't mean either that I'm crazy or that I'm wrong. It just makes people wonder why. Well, you go ahead and it's just one big setup. It's just one big setup. But now let me be on record. Deputy Schoen, if he comes after me, it's because I now know that it's him that they're sending into that fucking trailer court dealing with the goddamn meth heads. The drug operation. He's not arresting anybody. They're involved in protecting that meth operation because there's a lot of money in meth. From what I understand, it's highly addictive. You know? Who's right next door harassing the shit out of me? A bunch of fucking convicted meth heads. You know? Who obviously are protected by my sheriff, who is running the meth operation. You know? Heaven wanted me to know the information I found out yesterday. Wanted me to know. And so when I send this live out, which I'm going to, as soon as I finish it, I'm going to include the voicemail that he left me on Saturday. So everyone can at least equate a voice to a name. But that's why. That's the reason why this whole game is going on. That's the reason why Thomas, a convicted felon, goes on and on and on and on about how great my sheriff is and how professional my sheriff is. And oh, poor Neil Gross has to deal with big bad David because David's calling him out for being involved in a fucking meth operation and protecting child killers. You know, you only have to look at the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion. It's not like I wasn't forwarding all of the fucking death threats that I was getting before then. Deputy Donovan, his deputy, the very one they were using to take me to court to go after the dogs, but he lost. They lost in court. A week and a half before that Erling, Iowa gas station explosion, he ends up committing suicide. What were they making him do to me that caused him that he'd rather kill himself than do whatever they were asking him to do? Because the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion, yes, the official report says the place filled with fumes. It was one explosion that leveled the place. But that directly conflicts with the KETV news report that night, where not only was Neil Gross, the sheriff, talking about the explosions, and me, who was right across the street from the explosions, but Dan, the owner of the gas station, who is on record saying how he got out of the gas station, went back in the gas station, got his brother-in-law and both of them out of there before the second explosion leveled the place. Those stories completely contradict. But Neil will excuse it because it's not their fucking job to count explosions. And it's stupid shit like that people are like, oh, okay. Maybe the insurance companies who paid out a whole lot of money for something that they weren't liable for might have something to fucking say about it. You know? I don't know who Allie Carter is. I don't keep up with any of the shit. I don't keep up with any of it. Most of the time, my experience is the people who come out, if they have a big following and they're known everywhere and all of that, they're fucking fake. Because if you're real, you end up like Isaac Cappy or me. They just harass the shit out of me. But there's no more little emoji things going on to irritate me. And they have to actually type the shit in now to be seen. No more little secret shit. And God only knows how many fucking emails I'm going to have after this. I have not asked for the Freedom of Information request. Why? I already have the official report. The official report contradicts what happened that day. You know? Contradicts what happened that day. And there's a KETV news report where fucking Neil is talking about it. I'm talking about it. Dan is talking about it. If there was only one explosion that leveled the fucking place, how did Dan get out of the place, go back in, get his brother-in-law, and get them both out? And Dan obviously wasn't that hurt. He was on the television program that night, you know? The discrepancies expose the truth. It's all been hidden. And why I figure they have Neil by the short and curlies is because they know about the fucking meth operation. And so Neil, if he goes after them, they'll expose the meth operation and then they'll bust him. So he's just trying to protect his own ass. And now, it probably was not the brightest to send Deputy Schoen to me. It was not the brightest that you sent the very dude you're sending down to actually deal with the meth operation in the trailer court to me. Because it was only a matter of time before I figured it the fuck out. And this is the first time, look at anything, it's the first time I ever have mentioned his name. Ever. But after I got done, I went out to my car to listen to the voicemail because he introduced himself. And I wanted to make sure that it was the same name. Sure as fuck, it was the same name. The discrepancies and the money trail. They got rid of the Harland Police Department because I have Yamada on video. And I have that gal, that deputy woman that he sent to my house on video. And the very fuckhead I was bitching about that I was bitching about to Yamada, because I'm not on the video. The camera was right above my head. I was sitting on the couch. He sat right in front of the camera. There's no way Yamada did not see that camera for the hour and a half of our conversation. It was right above my head. So the very person I'm bitching about, and they send that motherfucker to my door, who gives me their phone number 4 fucking times and demands, the 4th time made me put it in my phone because they knew I wasn't going to call them. Because the 3 times that they gave it to me before, I didn't do shit. The 4th time it was, take my number down and then call me. But God obviously had someone on the other side was watching, because I put it in my phone. But then when I went to go get it, retrieve it on my phone, it was no longer on my phone. It was wiped clean. So I still don't have their phone number, you know? But it was set up to get a fucking protection order, because that's what they like to do. That's the reason why they're constantly threatening it. Because that's how they shut people up. They get protection orders, and then they set them up. Just like they did in Algona, that Ryan Miller. You know what got me busted? I had 2 lots. My house was at the end of those 2 lots. The protection, the people who took out the protection order, even though all the videos listed had everything to do with Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who happened to live 23 miles away from me in Tacoma. But he was working with Ron Patton. Ron Patton and that whole Olympia crew of all those fucking occultists in Olympia, you know, working with them, who are all connected to Gabe Hoffman. They're all connected to him. These names, if you investigate, you'll find out the connections with all these people. They can't get rid of everything, you know? But that's the reason why this Deputy Schoen was asking me for names, because they're just taking my names and then doing everything they can to wipe it clean. That's what's happening. That's why it's working this way. This person had no clue what they were telling me yesterday. And I did not act like I was just curious, asking questions, because I didn't want to seem like I was overly anxious or ego, you know? And so I'm going to pray and I'm going to get off here. I've said what I needed to say in this one. I now know the jig is fucking up. I now know what the fuck is going on. And I'm not going to play this game anymore. Heaven, I come to you frustrated, but grateful. I know that you had a hand on everything that happened yesterday. Everything happened as a fluke. It was just bizarre how it worked yesterday. And now I know that I was meant to go to Omaha, run into this person, and they were meant to tell me what they told me. And that was what compelled me to go to Omaha, because I didn't have money to go to Omaha. I did not, you know, and so I'm grateful for that. You're always watching out over me, and I appreciate that. And all the traps that these dumbasses fucking set they fall into all the time. They're used to being protected by spiritual principalities they no longer have protecting them. And so they're arrogant, narcissistic, self entitled thought that they can just do whatever the fuck they want and they're protected anyway works to my advantage generally. And I'm very grateful for that. The very angels that were protecting them, you now have in heaven. And heaven is watching out over me. Yesterday was definitely heaven. I know you were involved, just like you were involved when we went to the farmhouse and I ran into my stepmother, who was supposedly dead for 3 years before that. I'm grateful that you let me know. I want to be able to fill my heart with love, but right now it's almost impossible. It's just the anger that some of this brings up is just immeasurable. But I still appreciate, because it was your son, our brother Jesus Christ, and his teachings that saved me from ending up becoming one of them. And I can't be more grateful that I'm not one of them. I'm not a goddamn Nazi. I'm not a goddamn child trafficker. I'm certainly not a meth head. And I'm so grateful because I know your hand has been on me my whole life and has guided me from the very beginning. And I appreciate that. And I love our brother, your son. I love the word, and I will do everything I can to tell people to fill their hearts with love and save their souls from the dark. At the same time, pleased as punch that those idiots that find themselves in the dark find themselves in the dark, because they need to be incarcerated. They need to be separated. The faithful will never be safe until this group is dealt with. And with that said, I express gratitude, and all glory goes to you. And I say these things gratefully and lovingly in your son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. And so that's, I will never stop. And heaven obviously doesn't want me to stop because of the shit that happened yesterday. When that name got mentioned, I about fell over. That's the reason why they knew something was up. I must have had a look on my face that was undeniable. Undeniable. And so, because I was floored, I was irritated. To be quite honest, I was irritated because it was just another setup. They do this constantly. And every time their shit falls apart. Every time their shit falls apart. And that's heaven. It has to be heaven. There's no other explanation. It's heaven. And so with that said, I'm under an hour, which is the way I want it to go. I have shit I have to get done today. But the jig is up. Deputy Showing, you know my fucking number. If you have a problem with what I have to say, please do show up. Come to my house. You know where I fucking live. I'm only 6 or 7 blocks down from your office. I would love to get a face with a name. But trust me, I have some questions I'd like to ask you that has nothing to do with the shit of the meth heads that are going after me. But now I know the damn game, Now I know the game. And it ain't gonna fucking work this time. Meth is bad. Meth is bad. Child trafficking is bad. Connecting kids with meth helps with the child trafficking. That's bad. I already have. That's the reason why I have a feeling that they sent Deputy Shen to me. Because I have a feeling things are being investigated and they needed someone who could set me the fuck up. That's what I think happened. But hey, anyone who watches this, people are saying contact DEA, contact Interpol, contact the deputy, the U.S. Marshals. I'm asking all of you for your help. Send this video to Interpol, to DEA, to, I live in Harland, Iowa. If they call Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff, Neil Gross is going to know how to get a hold of me. He knows where I live. They know my phone number. It's easy to find me. I need help, people. Send this video in particular to the fucking DEA and Interpol and U.S. Marshals. I'm on record here. I'm doing this live and I'm on record stating what I know and stating facts of the matter. And this criminal enterprise may not like it, but it doesn't make me crazy. It doesn't, all it shows is that they're targeting someone they believe is crazy, you know? But all the names that I've mentioned in here, it will give you a good start. It'll give you a good start. So, Kristen, you have my phone number, or not my phone number, but my email address. You get addresses to where to send this video, send it to me. I'll put it in the description so that everyone can send it, because I'm asking everyone for help now. Unless you like meth heads, unless you like meth traffickers, unless you like child traffickers, you know, it is not in your soul's best interest to sit on your hands. Take a stand. That's what I'm doing. I'm leading by example. And so this is for everyone out there. And you don't even have to do it. Find the information and send it to for yourselves. I'm on record here. I've been on record. I just keep saying the same shit over and over and over and over. It's just that heaven keeps providing me with things I wasn't aware of. I had no idea that Deputy Shen was so involved in this fucking meth operation here in town. I'm not surprised, but I had no clue till yesterday. And now that I know, I'm not going to be quiet about it. And Neil, you can take that to the fucking bank. I'd be worried, dude, because what I told you, you're going to choose your kids or you're going to choose the child traffickers. And Thomas can bitch about it, and Lucian Greaves, Doug Mesner, founder of the Satanic Temple, can bitch about it. They can all bitch about it, but it doesn't change the facts. Unless they can beat heaven, the facts remain the same. And it's not me you have to worry about. It's heaven. And heaven, obviously, is conspiring to fuck your group up, which explains what happened yesterday to a T. Because I had no clue. And everything that happened yesterday was a fluke. Couldn't have been planned by anybody, because I spent the day flying by the seat of my pants. There's no way this was instrumented, except by heaven. And so, take it for what it's worth, dude. Take it for what it's worth. You fight heaven. For the rest of you, fill your hearts with love. Take a stand for the good. And with that, I'll probably see you guys. What? Today's Tuesday. I'll see you Thursday. All right. Bye.